Good morning, everyone. The Redevelopment Agency meeting of June 18, 2014 is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for hearing impaired viewers. Please note some customers of Cox Communication who do not have a cable box may view this meeting on digital channel 89.5. The Redevelopment Agency meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, may be viewed on the city's website at www.kclv.tv. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m., also on Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 1 p.m. This building is protected by state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler system. If alarms should activate during today's meeting, please evacuate using the exits at the back of the chamber out to the mezzanine. Proceed out the double doors to the terrace and down the back staircase. For anyone who has difficulty with stairs, please check with a marshal or fire official for assistance. Once outside, assemble on the northeast corner across the street from City Hall at Lewis and First. Employees wearing safety vests or our city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. For public comment related items on the agenda, citizen participation, and public hearing items, we have available a speaker card which you may complete and submit to our city clerk. Cards are available online as well in the city clerk's office or at the rear of these chambers. If you do not submit a card, it does not prevent you from speaking under public comment, citizen participation, or specified public hearing items. If there's anyone present today who has need for hearing impaired equipment, please see our city clerk staff while I choke. Sorry, talk and swallow. No. If you parked in the parking garage across the street and did not receive a validation ticket as you entered chambers, please exit to your right and then see the security personnel at the entrance. We will move on to item number 3. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments made will be cross-referenced to those specific items. If anyone submitted a speaker card wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the podium, state your name for the record. We'll set the time at 1 minute. Hearing and seeing no one, we'll move on to agenda item 4. RA 82014 and RA 2-2-2014, discussion for possible action regarding a resolution to modify the employment plan policy designed for the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, RDA, projects which will supersede the approved Redevelopment Agency employment plan policy dated April 6, 2011, Redevelopment Area and Redevelopment Area 2, Wards 1, 3, and 5, Council persons Tarkanian, Coffin, and Barlow. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor, members of Council, Redevelopment Agency Board. For the record, Bill Arndt, Director, Economic and Urban Development. This item before you is to update our employment plan policy. As you know, we have a diversity policy that applies to all of our redevelopment projects. The Nevada legislature actually updated the law governing this part of our redevelopment statute through Assembly Bill 417. So I'm going to quickly walk through the main changes that this bill is requiring us to do for updating our policy. The main thing is that it's requiring us to update our preference areas. So one of the things that we do with our projects is for both the construction phase as well as the employment phase, we have to encourage hiring for members of racial minorities, women, disabled, as well as veterans. And so we have to designate preference areas, and historically the preference area has been our redevelopment area, but the law actually added 2 new areas, community development block grant eligible census tracts, as well as the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community. So I wanted to show you graphically what this looks like to show you where we're targeting employment opportunities for our redevelopment projects. So the first map here is our redevelopment area number 1. This is our traditional redevelopment area, which is thought of as greater downtown. And you can see there the map. At this scale, I know it is hard to see the street boundaries, but we wanted to show you a city overlay because some of the new areas actually expand much farther outside of downtown. So the first area is redevelopment area 1. The second area, redevelopment area 2, you can see there shaded in blue, which is predominantly the Sahara Avenue commercial corridor, Charleston Boulevard commercial corridor, as well as North Decatur Boulevard. Third area is community development block grant, and you can see this is a very large area. And the block grant eligibility is actually determined by formula by the federal government, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And because the city of Las Vegas has gone through an economic downturn, you see that a lot of the city now is eligible by formula for community development block grant. And then finally, the final area is the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community. And this also shows why we showed the map with the city boundaries. The area that is to the north edge of here, bounded by Rancho, Cheyenne, I believe it's 8th Street to the east, and then the area to the right of that, those are actually the portions of the Southern Nevada Enterprise Community which actually fall outside of the city of Las Vegas boundaries and actually spill over into North Las Vegas. So when you combine all 4 of these areas, this is what the map looks like, and this is going to be our new resident preference area to try to have preference for projects that are supported by redevelopment dollars, that the employment opportunities go to local residents. We have set a goal for 15% of employment opportunities for local residents, and we are staying with that goal. That goal is by policy. It's not dictated by statute, but it's something that you as the council have decided in the past. And the other goal, the aspirational goal, we're not able to set a firm goal for minority employment participation, but we do have an aspirational goal of 15%, and we've exceeded that goal on recent projects. With that, that concludes my presentation, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
I'd like to ask first off, when you speak about the enterprise area that is not included, I can see that on this map. Enterprise projects funds generally support themselves. Could you explain what this enterprise is, how it's different? What was that?
Sure. This was something that was created by Nevada law and was kind of extending an area that was looked at way back in 1993. There was an application to the federal government during the Clinton administration for applying for an area to become either an enterprise zone or an enterprise community, which would make this area eligible for special funding from the federal government, which included grants, as well as the ability to offer low-interest loans. Those funds have long since been exhausted. The Nevada legislature essentially reenacted the area as an area of focus to try to encourage new economic opportunities. So they've looked at things such as the F Street reopening. They've looked at grant opportunities. They've had support from UNLV and the Lindsay Institute. So there's a committee that is chaired by various legislators, as well as Councilman Barlow representing the city, that meets on a regular basis to look at issues affecting this area. There's no dedicated funding source, so it really is a committee looking to really identify issues and rely on all of the local governmental entities to help resolve those issues.
So actually, it's nothing.
Well, it's,
I mean, I mean, to be perfectly honest, there's no money to do anything, and it's outside our redevelopment areas and the targeted areas that you have shown here. So it is residual to what was originally funded by the federal government, but in actuality now, there are no dollars to do anything.
there are no dollars attached to that area, but it is a focus area that has been designated by the Nevada legislature. It's certainly possible in the future that they could appropriate funds, but today it's really more of a planning area and a planning focus.
And that specific area up to Cheyenne, off of Rancho to the east, that you so ably designated there, that is within the confines of the city, or is that North Las Vegas?
So the area north of Lake Mead Boulevard and north of Cary Avenue, that's actually outside of the city of Las Vegas, in North Las Vegas, but the law prescribes that we can actually consider resident preferences outside our boundaries into this enterprise community area. And I think it's intended to be more inclusive as we look to try to support employment, and having a broader area actually helps us. It helps us reach out to more of the community. We supported this change last legislative session, so we think it's a good thing, a helpful thing to try to hit our diversity goals.
But practically, if you go south of Cary and that little pocket there north of Lake Mead Boulevard, that's in Ward 5, and that is funded. Thank you very much.
Right. The area that's shaded in the gray that is within the city, we do have funding sources like our redevelopment agency
Okay.
funds.
Thank you very much. Anyone else, questions, comments? I guess not. Thank you, Mr. Arndt. Do we need a motion? Councilwoman, please? Or Councilman Barlow? Councilwoman? Why don't you go if you turn on your button?
I'll move for approval, Mayor.
Oh, come
Okay.
on. Just because my hand was slower, huh?
Okay, there's a motion. Please vote and please post. That motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll go on to agenda item 5. Yes,
Please ask for a report on I vote for me.
please. Can we do that, please? Thank you, so done. Now we're on to agenda item 5, RA9, 2014, and RA2-3-2014. Discussion for possible action regarding a resolution authorizing the administration funding of a revolving loan account as required by NRS 279.710, 500,000 RDA Special Revenue Fund dollars, Redevelopment Area 2, Wards 1, 3, and 5, which belong to councilpersons Tarkanian, Coffin, and Barlow. This item is related to City Council Item 39, R-21-2014.
Thank you, Mayor. In introducing this item, I need to make a correction on the preceding item. I had indicated that the legislation was Assembly Bill 417, and I transposed the bill for this item with the preceding item. The actual bill for the employment plan update was Senate Bill 135. Assembly Bill 417, that should be referenced to this bill, or this update, the revolving loan fund. So I'd like to make that correction on the record. Assembly Bill 417 essentially authorized redevelopment agencies and required redevelopment agencies to adopt a revolving loan fund program. The law does not require agencies to fund a revolving loan fund program because agencies may have other obligations where they're debt, capital projects, small business programs like some of the popular programs we've been doing. We took a very close look at the law, and we're still going through it, figuring out the best practice policy and procedure. But we think that there's enough merit that we want to try doing it. And so this item before you really is to authorize staff to proceed with developing a policy as well as procedures to implement a revolving loan fund program. The law did set out specific requirements for a revolving loan fund program should an agency wish to adopt one. The first item is that the requirement is that the funds help small businesses, and it defines a small business in the statute as a business of not more than 25 employees. It requires that the maximum loan term be a term of 5 years, meaning that the loan would have to be repaid in 5 years. It requires that there be 100% collateral to support repayment of the loan. And so given these items and requirements, we're trying to look at best practices. We're evaluating all the small business loan programs, public and private, out in the marketplace today. We think one void that is out there in the marketplace is a microloan program. There's only, to our knowledge, one bank out there in the marketplace today that is making microloans, loans of $50,000 or less. And we think, given this business size that the legislation targets, that a microloan program could be a good program for the agency to try to support. So we're looking to further develop policies and procedures. We're going to be meeting with all the local lenders out there, so all the SBA lenders, all the community development corporations that are out there that have lending programs. We don't want to replicate what they're doing. We don't want to unnecessarily compete with what they're already doing. But if there is a void in the marketplace, and we believe there may be, particularly with microloans, we want to see if we can develop a best practice to support small business in our redevelopment area. We also want to tie our revolving loan fund program to the industries that we're trying to attract or help expand here. So certainly tech in the downtown area, certainly healthcare, not only in downtown, but in our Las Vegas Medical District, which we're trying to encourage the expansion of, as well as other businesses that are targeted in our economic development investment strategy. So this item before you simply authorizes the program. We were required by statute to make that authorization finding this fiscal year, and then we really do want some more time, and we're being intentionally methodical about how we do this because we want to meet with the lending community. We don't want to replicate what they're doing. We want to offer a product that isn't in the marketplace or try to reach businesses that are underserved by conventional lending. So with that, we recommend approval, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
I would like to ask on the deferred tax credit basis of development that has been ongoing here in the city. When did the payment of the taxes begin? When you were funding some of the projects on the 61 at Symphony Park, what I'm getting at is it seems self-defeating if you're lending, and you and I have discussed this, if you're lending a startup business the money, how can they start paying it back right away? You're trying to encourage them. So is there a way to look out further and say the payments must start as you go through the process being paid back after 3 years on a prorated basis or something rather than paying back right away? Seems to defeat the whole thing.
Mayor, excellent question. That's why microloan programs are inherently tough. You're lending to businesses that they may not be day one startups, but they're typically younger companies, smaller companies. By statute, it does cap employment at 25 people, so it has to be the smaller businesses. I think what we'd like to do is we'd like to find a sweet spot where we're helping small businesses that are past their initial launch, they have revenue, they have the ability to repay a loan over time. Because it's a revolving fund, we do want repayment, but I think we can be flexible on repayment terms. So we could certainly look at an interest-only program where we defer principal. We do want to make sure that we do proper underwriting. We are exploring the possibility of outsourcing part or all of this so that we get some professional lenders that have experience in small business loan programs. There are a number of them out there. They're kind of varying degrees of success. So we really want to sit down with all of our partners. We're also going to be working with the local Small Business Administration Office to get their feedback and input. And I know we've had recent conversations with them about other needs in the community.
And also, I think you mentioned that there's a lien against the property till the loan is satisfied. So at least you end up with something if the business should fail.
Right, so we would seek collateral. So if it's a real estate loan, we would seek collateral against the real estate. We are looking at the possibility of doing equipment or working capital loans, which would require a different form of collateral. We would form a lien against equipment or personal guarantees, corporate guarantees, those kinds of things.
Okay.
That's tougher lending, tougher underwriting, but we really think there's something there, there's a possibility there, and there are a lot of businesses that are kind of turning the corner now, and there's some private surveys out there. I know Nevada State Bank did a survey recently where a lot of businesses identified a need for capital and a difficulty in finding capital. So we really think there's something here, and we really want to study it further. Again, we're being kind of intentionally slow out of the gate, methodical about how we do this, because we want to make sure we're successful. We want to make sure we get the money to businesses that are truly need it, that are growing, that can repay, and make sure we have the appropriate safeguards in place to make sure that the program can be successful.
So you will be coming back to us
Yes,
with that as you
so this is
proceed?
authorizing the program. You've already approved a budget allocation for FY15, so you're not approving budget. We've already done that as part of the budget adoption
Right.
for 15. This is just simply authorizing the program. We're going to come back to you. And we'd like to come back to you with the lending community, too, actually have them join us here, explain what we're proposing to do, how it fits a niche that isn't being addressed by the private sector.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? Anybody else? Councilwoman, your chance. Quickly.
I move to approve.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. Councilman
Barlow?
Barlow and Coffin, we have
Yes.
votes.
I'm sorry?
Can we vote?
Oh, yes, we can vote. How do you want us to vote?
Your own conscience. Look at that. Unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Arndt, as always. Okay, agenda item 6, citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the redevelopment agency. No subject may be acted upon by the redevelopment agency unless that subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come to the podium, give your name for the record. Amount of discussion, any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may and will be limited. And anyone wishing to speak? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 7.
Wait, there was a
Wait,
gentleman.
I am too fast. Oh, and I know this gentleman.
Hello, how are you?
How
Mayor
are you?
Goodman? Hello,
Good
City
morning.
Council. My name is Paul Casey. I produce the Las Vegas Car Stars. I'm here for 2 reasons. One, to thank the city for their support, especially Mayor Goodman coming out on that hot day at the Las Vegas sign. We had over 46 celebrities there. We had the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police, Special Events, Motorcycle Division, the finest in the world.
Yes.
The reason I'm here is simple, 2 reasons. One is to thank Mayor Goodman with a special plaque from the Las Vegas Car Stars for her support. Oops, sorry about that. This is the first thing. I want you to have that.
Thank you
The other
very
thing
much.
is, we have a photograph with all the celebrities at the sign with your smiling face.
Oh, how lovely.
Isn't that
Thank
nice?
you very much. Yes,
And then
thank
finally,
you.
when the last person I want to do is I want to recognize the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Special Events Team. And on behalf of them, Officer Gordy McGee is here.
Yes.
And in front of 100,000 people, we went up with 90 vehicles that were up, driving up there, led by the finest police department. And with that, 2 things. This event supports the children of Southern Nevada. The Children's Miracle Network, my daughter's godfather is John Schneider. He and Marie Osmond created this 30 years ago. Because of them, my daughter was alive today. She was not supposed to live to be 3. She's now 6.5. She is part of the rare undiagnosed disease program at National Institute of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. We're going there next month. They still cannot find out what the diagnosis with her, but because of that, the Children's Miracle Network is going to recognize Gordy McGee for all his contributions.
Beautiful.
That's not all. And the other thing that I want to give him, and I'm working fast, as you can see.
I can see that. You should
The other
be a
thing is a
magician.
plaque that goes to this division, and we are so grateful. For 7 years, he has been there to help me make sure this runs smoothly, and I couldn't have found a better person to run this. I'm very proud to know him, and he is an excellent example of why we have the finest police department in the world. This is
Without question.
and that's it. And I'll leave all
I
these
thought
good-
he was following you because he didn't trust you.
Well, he usually leads. I will leave these up
Thank
in
you.
your office.
Thank
very
you so
All right,
much.
you all have a nice day.
Thank you. We appreciate that. So nice of you. Anyone else wishing to be heard, please come forward. That's so nice. All right, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item 7. Agency member recognition. Comments made by individual agency members during this portion of the agenda will not be acted upon by the agency unless the subject's on the agenda and scheduled for action. Is there any member of the redevelopment agency who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda? Are you lost, Mr. Bear?
Right.
Okay. Are you wishing to speak under, no? Okay, that's no. Okay, any other comments? Councilman Beers, Mr. Bear belongs to you. Did you want to make a comment?
Ward 2 would be a much less rich place without John Bear.
Oh, see, did you hear that, Mr. Bear? Thank you. Okay, hearing none, the redevelopment agency is adjourned, and we will start our city council meeting promptly